The problem with the post office is simple. You have workers who won't retire, cannot be laid off, and in fact want to continue receiving pay when you have a shrinking market.
This is Brian Kaye for CalWatchdog.com. How do we reform the United States Postal Service? We asked Congressman Darrell Issa his plan.
Well, I think the American people look at the post office as something they don't use very much but would like to have it still around, and I agree with them. But right now the post office takes in about $65 billion in revenue and loses about $12 billion in delivering your mail. Like any business, UPS, FedEx, the post office, it can live within its means if it makes appropriate changes in efficiency, including go from 6-day to 5-day delivery and get rid of some of the legacy programs that simply cost money and the American people no longer want. The problem with the post office is simple. You have workers who won't retire, cannot be laid off, and in fact want to continue receiving pay when you have a shrinking market. The American people have to stand up and say, we appreciate the federal workforce, but if there's no work to be done, we've got to have a way to have them exit.
And is there political will to actually reform the post office in Washington, D.C.?
There's almost uniform support on the Republican side, but the Democrats in Washington are standing by the union dues that come into those federal workers, and we don't expect to have any help from House Democrats. We expect to pass it on a partisan basis, but we hope then to work with Senator Lieberman and others to find a compromise that will both save some jobs but also allow for the retirement of some of the excess.
And do you see that happening in next election year or any movement this year?
It's got to happen this year. The post office is actually going to go bust, run out of money, and need a direct subsidy within a matter of a couple of months unless we act.
Is there any discussion or possibility of privatization or even privatization of parts of the post office?
You know, some of the great successes of the post office in the last few years have been joint ventures with FedEx and UPS, and there need to be more of those. You need to have one person delivering all the packages and mail to a house, not having 3 separate deliveries. We think there are some synergies that would help all those organizations be more efficient.